Shalom Aleichem, Assalamu Alaikum. Welcome to 2nd Chronicles chapter 17, in which there are 19 verses. Beginning in verse 2, garrisons versus forces, which means army. And then we see the word captains versus garrisons, and garrisons means deputy. Okay, so both words in the Septuagint are positions or ranks, whereas the Masoretic is using an army, a word denoting forces, multiple groups of people. Verse 3, we see the word idols versus Baalim. And if we look at that word, it's Hebrew entry 1168 in the Strongs. And that can mean a male divinity of the Phoenicians or Canaanites. So not necessarily idol. So that I'm going to write that down, mark it as a significant difference. In verse 5, it says here, Hashem prospered the kingdom versus established or established is a better way to understand that, the kingdom. So it's one thing to start it up, to build it, but it's another thing altogether to make sure it prospers, to ready it for success and to make it successful. Verse 6, this is the focus of maybe the title of the video and the thumbnail itself. You will see a thumbnail showing someone celebrating and very happy. So this is more not so much a difference. This is more of a expository, more of a just building and trying to understand what is being said here. So in both translations it says, well, in the Masoretic it says, his heart was lifted up in the ways of Hashem. In the Septuagint it says, his heart was exalted in the way of Hashem. So whichever translation you're focusing on, the point is that your heart and my heart can be exalted, can be lifted up in a good way. It's not negative all across the board, because commonly in scriptures where someone is mentioned as being exalted in their heart or exalting oneself, it means that they're making themselves, putting themselves in a superior position or viewing themselves as superior to another person or group. And so then they would be arrogant and haughty. So the Hebrew word being used for exalted or lifted up is Strong's number 1361, which is the Hebrew gaba. And there are many connotations such as high, lofty, tall, exalted, so on and so forth. And then, as I mentioned, haughty or arrogant in a bad sense. But interestingly enough, the primitive root means to soar. To soar. So based on that root, in my opinion anyway, I think it's closer to when one describes their heart feeling like it is soaring, like you're flying. Some say euphoria, feeling euphoric, or even being on cloud 9. So this is not, again, I want to stress that this is not someone who is feeling superior to others or putting themselves in a position to be superior. It is closer to the inner state of being elevated and joyful in one's heart. And notice as well, it says here, in the way, so haderek in the Hebrew, the way versus multiple ways, which is sort of a foreshadowing of Mashiach, Yeshua, perhaps. Verse 7, his mighty men. So this is being used in association with the following names. So it is just describing this verb. This verse is describing who the mighty men are. It's identifying Obadiah, Zechariah, Nathaniel, Micah as the mighty men, and they were also teachers. They were not only mighty men, but they were also uh, sent to teach in the cities of Judah. However, the Masoretic does not identify them as mighty men. It says he sent his princes to who? To Ben Hale. So instead of mighty men, it describes an individual named Ben Hale. And then also sending them out not only to Ben Hale, but to Obadiah and the other names that as I mentioned in the Septuagint. Okay, let's look up this name Ben Hale. Is it a person or does that mean something? Ben Chayil, son of strength. So this is saying this is an individual. This is a specific person, not mighty men, as the Septuagint is saying. Verse 9 is an interesting verse. I'm going to read it. They taught in Judah, and there was with them the book of the law of the Lord, of Hashem, so the Torah. And they passed through the cities of Judah and taught the people. Okay, well, what am I trying to... Why am I bringing this up? Because there are some people who believe that we should not have teachers of the Torah. We should not go to people, whether it's rabbis or pastors or whatever, whatso have you, in any religious denomination, imams. You can't go to anybody to learn. When this verse goes against that idea, that yes, we actually should have teachers. Yes, we are guided by the Parakletos, by the Spirit of Truth, but having teachers is not a bad idea. It is a good thing if they are teaching you according to the letter and the Spirit, according to the truth. Because yes, there are many teachers. Often they will misguide. They will lead people astray, not keeping the law and maybe too much grace, or maybe too legalistic, too much to the letter of the law, and not towards mercy. Okay, so that's verse 9. Verse 12, we have some more minor differences. It says here, strong cities, or I should say places of abode versus castles, and then strong cities versus cities of store. And then verse 16, it reads here, who was zealous for Hashem, so indicating perhaps dedication or passion, emotion involved, versus who willingly offered himself unto Hashem, which, because we're not given the details of how and why he offered himself, this could be done somewhat reluctantly. We don't know. But in any case, there is no emotion linked to this action. It's not explicit that it is driven by passion or zeal. But he did choose to willingly offer himself, credit where credit is due. But we're just not given the emotional weight of that decision, that action. But we are given that in the Septuagint, he was zealous. Verse 18, mighty men. So this is describing like an elite special forces, such as in our modern day, we have Delta Force, SEAL Team 6, and so on. We have the British have their SAS. And then in the Masoretic, it talks about those who are ready, prepared for the war. So those who have been trained, not necessarily special forces or elite, simply those who are perhaps on reserve, but they have been prepared, but not... There are levels to this, right? We have the elite special forces on the spectrum of excellence and, the best that they have to offer, and then those who are prepared for the war. We don't exactly know where they would fall in that spectrum. They could be highly skilled, they could be in the middle, they could be just beginners, amateurs. We don't know how much experience they have in warfare, but they've been prepared. So that's all the differences for this chapter. I'd like to thank you for your time. Till next time, I bid you all Shalom Alechem, Assalamu Alaikum, Eirini Mazisu, Pax Vobiscum. Peace be unto you, and Maranatha.